new here, Assembly District 78. I'm Chris Ward, your Assembly representative, and I wanted to bring you up to date on the latest for the month of January. With a new legislative session underway and a lot of new constituents following our redistricting, I thought it would be a good time to outline what I do as your elected representative. What is an Assembly member? Some of you may already be familiar with what my job entails, but for those of you who aren't, I hope that this short segment is helpful. The California Assembly is one of two chambers in the legislature, with the other being the state Senate. The Assembly consists of 80 elected officials who each represent around 500,000 people. If that sounds like a lot, you're right. The California Assembly has the largest population per representative ratio of any U.S. state. Being an Assembly member, it's a full-time job with 2-year terms. With current term limits, they can be elected up to 6 times, so that's 12 years total. I was just re-elected to start my second term. We operate around a fixed legislative calendar that starts at the new year and goes until about Labor Day. We're up at the Capitol nearly every week and return to the district on the weekends and full-time in the fall months. Assembly members work with Capitol staff to introduce bills that could become law, and we approve the state budget, while district staff assist my constituents with accessing state resources and keep connected with community organizations when I'm physically in Sacramento. We can introduce up to 50 bills every 2 years across all subject areas that we cover, but that's a lot of workload to manage. Members typically introduce about 15 to 20 bills per year, and we have to set them in motion by late February, otherwise a deadline is missed for the calendar year because committees need to start their work. In addition to introducing legislation, each Assembly member also plays an important role in securing state funds for local projects in their district. After all, if we don't, your dollars would flow to other cities in the state. For example, last year I secured money from the state budget to build a bike path at San Diego State University and improve facilities at the Maritime Museum of San Diego and the Natural History Museum, and more. The Assembly is currently led by a Speaker, Assemblymember Anthony Rendon, and as Speaker, he controls the flow of legislation, appoints Assembly members to lead committees who vet bills and decide whether to move them forward, and he sets priorities for the Assembly majority to vote on. This is my assigned desk in the chamber this year, and as you may have seen in December, I was appointed Speaker pro tempore. And in this role, I stand behind the dais and I preside over the Assembly when it's in session. These are long and busy days while at the Capitol, and when up here on Monday to Thursday or Friday, we have floor sessions at least twice a week, meet for committee assignments, receive constituents and organizational representatives for meetings on policy areas like housing and homelessness, education, jobs, public safety, healthcare, childcare, climate change, and so much more. If you have an issue or a question or a bill idea that you'd like to pass on, reach out to my district staff and someone will get back to you. I hope that gives you a little more insight into what goes on here in Sacramento. Being an Assembly member is a demanding job, but it's also very fulfilling. In upcoming newsletters, we will have segments on how the legislative process works and how you can get involved. What services are available in Assembly District 78, how my district staff might be able to assist you, how the state budget is decided, and even a little virtual tour of your state capitol. This year, my office is already off to a great start after introducing new legislation that is both impactful and necessary. I mentioned last month, Assembly Bill, or AB2, will establish a solar panel recycling program in California to help our growing stock of aged solar panels successfully receive a second life. And I'm working on a second bill to manage toxic material aspects of solar panels as well, to be introduced soon. To help California's water supply issues under a changing climate, I introduced AB 30. Now, atmospheric rivers is a term that you may have heard or seen recently with all of our wet weather. Basically, there are narrow currents in the air that can carry high amounts of water vapor thousands of miles from the tropics to the mid and northern latitudes. AB 30 would broaden the Atmospheric River Research Program administered through the Department of Water Resources to optimize water supply at dam operations and flood control systems, creating reliability and mitigating flood risk. I've reintroduced my grand juries bill from last year, AB 78, to help improve diversity and outreach and increase pay for grand jurors. Ensuring that jurors are fairly compensated for their time while increasing transparency around the jury selection process will attract a more diverse pool of people to reflect a broad range of experience, expertise, and perspectives. This week, I introduced the Transgender Youth Privacy Act. This bill will allow minors who petition for a sex or gender identifier change to have their records sealed to protect their privacy. Transgender youth should be allowed to navigate their gender identity without fear of retaliation from someone who discovers that information in the public record. Being outed is a painful experience, and transgender youth should be able to decide when and how to reveal their information when they are ready. As always, I want to thank you for your support. I'm grateful to be your representative and work on these issues and more. One of the best ways to stay informed is to follow my social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where you can know in real time what developments are happening or what I'm working on every day. And if you need state assistance, please know that my district office staff is available and ready to serve or answer any question that you may have. Feel free to reach out to the contact information at the end of this segment, and a staff member will connect with you as soon as possible. Stay warm and safe this January, and I wish you, your family, and your neighbors all the best.